We're all good to go.
Beautiful. Awesome. We have a minute here to start.
Okay.
I know.
All right, we will call to order this November 9, 2021 meeting of the Lawrence County Board of Commissioners. Will all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence. Loretta, would you lead some pledge?
I will, thank you. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And all please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Wessler?
Here.
Commissioner Davis?
Here. I will note we have a quorum. We're being live streamed right now. It's being sent out to our YouTube channel for public consumption. And we are being recorded internally for our purposes in compiling the minutes. I'll note if anyone has any business before the board today, we would ask that you walk up to the microphone, speak into the microphone so that we can pick it up for our purposes in compiling the minutes. We also ask you keep any comments that you might have related to county business. Row officer reports and comments. First on deck today, I'm looking around the room. Not really seeing any representatives of row offices. I mean, JPO kind of, but not really, as an arm of the courts. Yes.
Real quick. John, would you be kind enough to slide a chair up to the mic, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, good call. Good call.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
I'm not as good as pothole patrol on.
Now you better enlighten everybody what that meant.
There was a pothole. We were invited down to the Veterans Day Parade on Saturday, I think it was. And they had us arrange all the elected officials, which was very nice, in front of at the fountain at the Diamond. And we just happened to be sitting in front of a very nice sized pothole that, if anyone tripped and fell, would actually probably cause some damage. It's not like the potholes you see in Wilmington. It's a Newcastle pothole, which means it's pretty damn deep. And so Dan, of course, is sitting right in front of this thing. And every 2 minutes, you have all the Boy Scout troops, all the bands, all the cheerleaders, all the band fronts coming by. And every 2 seconds, I felt bad. Dan would get up and watch the pothole, watch the pothole, until somebody finally put a chair over it.
Well, it was Loretta's idea to do the chair. So we give Loretta credit for the chair idea. And then we had to keep moving it back and forth.
between the cars and the feet, the cars and the feet.
So if you think
Very well.
your elected officials aren't earning their paychecks, no.
Well,
This is the city, Debbie.
Probably a picture, not.
Oh, this is the city. But on that note, we'll move on to public comments. Again, we ask that you keep any public comments you might have related to county business. And if you do have any public comments, we ask that you state your name and address so we can put it into the official records. Anybody here that has a public? Mr. Halaka,
Yes.
be able to approach the bench and speak to the microphone. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, fine, thank you. How about you?
Doing well. What's going on?
Well, in the first place, I'd like to make a special thanks to the Lawrence County Planning Office because they did just a terrific job of doing this. And I want to be sure that they get the proper recognition for it.
Absolutely.
And another thing, Steve Craig and I went to Neshannock High School together.
Oh, boy.
But we didn't know each other in high school. It wasn't until later, just for the record, I found out about Quaker Falls through a college assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never heard of the falls either. Steve Craig never heard of the falls. Planning, I don't think anybody in the planning office heard of it too.
Mm-hmm.
But when Steve and I went out there, a black man came up out of there. He identified himself as a professor of geology at Syracuse University. He told us he drove all the way from Syracuse, New York, out to the waterfalls, and he had a whole bunch of papers down on it. So we got that. I'd like to make special thanks to Debbie. Did a really outstanding job in writing that article.
Yes, she did.
And I was going to say too, I used to work here in the registered recorder's office while I was going to college.
Oh, no kidding.
And when Janet Callahan first got elected, I was one of the employees there during the summer because they brought in some college students, so I was one of them.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I've been in contact with Eric Bombeck, who's with WPIC Radio at our Hermitage. And he has in the past worked with me with some projects in Lawrence County, even though they're located in Mercer County. So, I think the commissioners too could promote the falls if they go onto the Newcastle radio station, so that's my advice.
Oh, we do, yeah, we go on WKST, absolutely, we promote it.
Yeah, so very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alack, always good, always a pleasure to see you.
Yes.
Any other individual with us today wishing to make public comment? Seeing none, we will move on to the business portion of the meeting. Fiscal and contractual, we have no repository properties up for bid today, no advertising for bids and proposals, no receipt of bids and proposals. We do have warrant registers from November 4th, October 29th, October 28th, and October 26th. Reason that there's so many is, of course, the election was last week. We skipped the commissioners meeting to be able to organize that election. And as a result, the business of the county got, I don't want to say backed up a week, but postponed a week. So that's why there's so many registers and resolutions today and transfers. So I'll give my colleagues probably more than a minute to check over those four warrant registers. The warrant register process is the county's fiscal process. This is the culmination of that process. What happens is a department head fills out a requisition form, which then gets sent to the controllers for anything they might want to purchase, whether that be a new desk, whether that be a pack of staples, whatever that might be. The controller's office checks and sees if there's money in the budget for that purchase. They encumber that purchase. It gets sent up to the commissioner's office. 2 commissioners must sign off on that in order for the purchase to go through. It gets sent back down to the controller's office. The money is expended. The item is bought. The controller records the purchase on what is known as the warrant register. The warrant register comes back before us for approval, and the treasurer ultimately is the individual who actually sends out that money. So there's a whole lot of checks and balances in county government. It's sometimes cumbersome, but that's probably for the best. I'll note here too, you have a lot of names on the warrant registers from the 4th. Those are all poll workers for the most part.
Yes. I will make a motion to accept the warrant registers.
Second. We have motion second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Up next, approval of the minutes from Tuesday, October 26th, 2021. That was the last meeting of the Board of Commissioners. And again, I'll give my colleagues a minute. And then we'll take a motion to approve the minutes or make any changes as necessary and expedient.
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have a couple different written correspondence today. First one is from Volant Borough. Notice reads, gentlemen and gentlewoman. This is to advise you that the just as gentlemen. Volant Borough has applied
You'll
to
hear
the
from me.
Department of, I sent them a very angry letter. The Department of Environmental Protection for renewal of an MPDES permit, which will allow for discharge of treated sewage to surface water of the Commonwealth, take place in Volant Borough, Lawrence County. So that's the first up, just an Act 14 notification. Second up, this one's massive, so I'm just going to read the synopsis. The Zayo Group, for the approval of the alteration of public crossing by the installation of aerial communication line where Grant Street crosses at grade 2 tracks of the Newcastle Industrial Railroad in the city of Newcastle. This is fairly large. If anyone wants to see this, you're welcome to have it after the meeting. It's a fairly large document. And the third and probably most exciting is a MPDES permit notification for an activity taking place in Elwood City. Sheets is going in down in Elwood. And so that is confirmed, and this is the official county notification of the construction of that Sheets. The notice does not note, I don't believe, the address of the Sheets. However, I believe it's at the intersection of, I'm bad with the roads down there. Somebody help me out.
I believe Fountain Avenue and 5th Street, but Amy, can you confirm that? Fountain Avenue, and
I guess
it would be in the third ward.
There was a map that came with the correspondence.
Yep, that's it.
There we go, Fountain Avenue, Fifth.
There you are, where the circle is. Pass that down.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa.
This is exciting specifically because I think it's indicative of the growth that is anticipated for the southern part of the county. You know, as time marches forward, we're seeing more and more residential developments move north right now. A lot of residential developments happening in Zealand and Opal. To me, this is indicative that Sheets believes that growth is going to continue to push north as Zealand and Opal is developed. And additional space is needed for additional housing properties. So this is a good sign for our county. Any questions, comments, et cetera, from my colleagues?
Which corner?
We haven't gotten a plan yet, so I'm not 100% sure. They've been in contact with us. I'm thinking they're gonna be submitting it to our December agenda. They didn't, but they missed the November deadline, so.
Across from McDonald's?
Just sidebar, that's all.
Anything additional? All right, I'll take a motion to accept and file written correspondence.
So moved.
Second, motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to staff reports. Any member of staff here has anything to report about the elements already on the agenda? Looking around, seeing nothing. Commissioner reports and comments. Loretta, you're on deck first today. Floor is yours.
I am. Just first, it was a great parade on Saturday. The weather held up, other than the pothole, but I think we handled that well. Great participation. Hopefully, that continues and more people participate. Great job by those that organized it, as well as the many different VFW, American Legion, the Moose Clubs that had breakfasts or luncheons for veterans and their spouses and families. It was a very, very nice day. And my last comment will be a happy birthday to my firstborn, my daughter Jessica. Yes, November 9th. So happy birthday to you, Jess.
Good.
Oldest one.
That's nice.
Yes.
She watching.
She better be at work. She's in Arlington, so I would assume that she's at work. Yeah, Arlington, Virginia. Yes.
Happy birthday, Jessica.
There you go.
Dan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would concur with Commissioner Spillvogel. It was a very, very nice parade.
Yes, it was.
Weather couldn't have been better. I'd like to offer my congratulations, and I'm sure my colleagues would agree, to District Attorney Lamancusa, Sheriff Quilero, Controller Prestapine, and Register and Recorder-elect Crawford on their victories, as well as Judge Nicholson, I believe, was reelected.
Yes.
I believe she was the only district judge on the ballot. So we offer our congratulations to them. And a special thanks to the voter services staff, both the full-time folks and part-time and seasonal folks. They did a tremendous job of running a good election.
Outstanding.
Our appreciation goes out to them. And I do have a quick trivia question if you'd like me to pose it. Perhaps we're a little pressed for time, but I'll make it a brief one. I'll give you 3 different municipalities in the county. One of the 3, does not have at this time an active open church within its borders. So 2 of them do, 1 of them doesn't. In no particular order, your job is to name the one that doesn't have an active open church within its municipal borders. New Beaver Borough, Taylor Township, Perry Township. Anybody want to take a guess?
Taylor.
You win.
What was it?
Taylor.
That was my last guess.
They had a Catholic church at one time, Holy Cross, and they had a Methodist church. But my understanding is both of those churches are currently closed. New Beaver Borough has the Clinton Methodist Church on Old Route 18. It's almost in Beaver County. And Perry Township has the Mountville Presbyterian Church on Mountville Road, almost in Portersville. So congratulations, I'll get my,
I redeemed myself.
yeah. And you have that just like that,
Yeah,
so
that was good.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely, thank you. It's like I'm on deck. Next, I concur with Dean. Congratulations to all the winners
Yes.
of the 2021 municipal primary. All in all things considered, the election went off very well. No major issues. Obviously, there's still some cleanup that we're doing outside. Our auditing is getting done currently. We have scheduled a election board meeting, or working on scheduling an election board meeting for next Tuesday. Just looking at certifying the results of the election. I want to say it right before the commissioners meeting is the time that we're looking at.
So you think of 9:30?
9:30. So that looking to be the board of elections meeting next. I was gonna make some comments on forward warrants. I don't think that document's public yet. I think it's still under review, so I'll refrain from making those comments until such time as that document is public. We'll move on to new resolutions. First on deck, we have Jerry Zona with our joint Mercer Department, Lawrence Mercer Department of Recycling and Solid Waste. This is a great thing right here. Resolution for discussion and possible approval to enter into an agreement with Aiken Refuse for the bid for collection, processing, and marketing of recyclables from countywide drop-off depots. This is our blue bin program, if I'm correct.
That is correct.
But Jerry, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, but you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. What do we have before us today?
Okay, so, this particular contract is for a 3-year contract for the countywide recycling drop-off program, known locally as the Big Blue Bin program. This contract is in partnership with Mercer County, and, the current contract expires at the end of this year, so we issued an RFP, several weeks ago. And, after our analysis, we are recommending, giving the new contract to Aiken Refuse as the lowest qualified bidder. Mercer County approved this last week. It's one of the reasons it kind of took so long from when we opened the bids, because we had to go through their steps as well. So,
How much money are we saving relative to right now? Over 1 year and over 3 years?
so over the course of the first 2 years of the contract, we will save $37,000, and the remaining 3 years, if we extend it to 2 years, will be $34,000.
That's a year, per year? Yeah, so in other words, over a 3-year time period, which is the length of the current contract, this saves the taxpayers of Lawrence County roughly $100,000.
You're looking at, in over 5 years, it's $178,000.
That's great. And then that doesn't count savings additionally for the taxpayers of Mercer County.
That's correct.
Now you guys did a fine job on this. It's a great program. And this is actually, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the first time that you've come to our board and the Mercer board and said, hey, we're not going to exercise the option to extend. We think we can get some better pricing. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
And it turns out that analysis was correct. So thank you guys for your attention to the markets, for your attention to detail, and for saving the taxpayers of Lawrence County $100,000 over the next 3 years.
Thank you.
Questions, comments from my colleagues?
No,
Job well done.
thank you, Jerry.
Yes.
Vanessa, number?
292.
292. So I will take a motion to approve resolution 2021-292.
So moved.
Second.
Good motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We'll make this next one also recycling solid waste 293. And this is one we do. I believe we do this every year or every other year. Resolution for discussion and possible approval to apply for an Act 101, Section 904 Municipal Recycling Performance Grant. What do we have going on?
You are correct. This is a yearly grant program offered by the state, essentially out there to reward municipalities and counties for their recycling efforts. So I think typically we'll see anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 from this application.
This is correct me if I'm wrong. This is a competitive program whereby we get a monetary compensation for the total tonnage of recyclables processed by our county. Is that what this is?
Correct, yes.
Right. Questions, comments from my colleagues? All right, I'll take a motion to approve resolution 2021-293.
So moved.
Second.
The motion second, any further discussion, hearing none, question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Jerry. Keep up the good work. If you've got to take off to attend other matters,
Yes.
we completely understand.
Thank you, Commissioner. Take care.
Thank you.
Up next, we have 3 resolutions from our planning department. Director McKinney, please approach the bench. First on deck today, we have a resolution for discussion possible approval using CDBG funds. And again, this would be resolution 294. Annie, what do we have going on? How are you doing today, first of all?
How are you?
I'm doing what we going on?
This is a resolution to apply for a competitive CDBG CV under the CARES COVID Fund. We're working with Lawrence County Community Action Partnership. ECV released this August, I think. They had a deadline originally in September, but then they changed it. It's due November. It's due Friday, actually. And some of the things you can use it for: housing rehab, broadband, and small business economic development grants. We have the need for housing rehab, so we thought we'd go after some competitive dollars. It's not guaranteed like our normal CDBG grant, but we're asking for around $500,000, exactly $500,000. $450,000 would be for rehab, and the admin would be $50,000. So this is just a resolution giving permission to apply for it, and then Commissioner Boyd would be the chairman, so he will be the one that signs off on all the documentation when it comes in.
And correct me if I'm wrong, these, if awarded, this housing rehab program will largely be administered through Lawrence County Community Action Partnership.
Yep.
Great. Yeah, I'm all for applying for competitive applications. We've been very successful in the past couple of years with competitive apps, and we, you're one of the primary persons to thank for that. Tom Scott and Jen Elliott over at LU, you guys work, I think, very well together, and as a result of that, this county's been awarded a significant amount of money. I think we're at roughly $6 or $7 million when you factor in that HUD grant that we got for these different types of housing programs, demo programs, et cetera. So thank you for your work on that.
Thank you.
Questions, comments from my colleagues? We'll make this, like I said, 294. I'll take a motion to approve resolution 2021-294.
So moved.
Second. Good motion, second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Make this next one 295. Resolution for discussion possible approval for Teen LCSS. Amy, what do we have going on here?
So the county received CDBG CV funds back in 2020 when COVID first happened, and these were funds that were allocated. We just had to apply. We were automatically getting them. And we work with LCAP, and they do their teens program, which is where they deliver meals to people who can't get out and about. And ACTS is the ones that deliver them. So right now they're just asking for an increase in the cost per trip. We were doing $12 a trip. Now, obviously, we know everything that's been going on with gas, trying to find drivers and maintenance.
Right.
So they're looking to do an increase rate of $16 a trip. We have the money. It's all CDBG funds. No county general fund money.
That makes perfect sense. Gas has gone up.
Yeah.
Employee costs have gone up. I'm sure maintenance costs are creeping as well for the vehicles and everything that they do there. I certainly have no issue trying to get some help to some of our residents who might not be able to get out of their homes. Questions, comments from my colleagues? Nope. Resolution 2021-295. We'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. Any further discussion here? None. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Halakna, you're like this next one. This is resolution 2021-296. This relates to maintenance of Quaker Falls, specifically our forestry program that we have going on there. Amy, if you'd be able to give an overview of.
Well, this is Rebecca's baby. She's the one who's been working with Mr. Hudson, but yeah, this is basically just allowing us to enter into the agreement with him so that we can actually implement the forestry plan and keep everything maintained out at Quaker Falls to the best of, to keep the natural area, not destroy anything.
And I'll note that the compensation for this is interesting. On the resolution, compensation reads, the county commissioners agree to pay the forest manager for services rendered a commission of 15% of the gross proceeds from the sale of all saw timber, veneer, and pulpwood defined in this contract payable upon owner being paid for the timber. I just think that's an interesting way to for Mr. Hudson to make profit.
Yes.
And it's good for us too, because it means, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have upfront costs associated with this. So it's totally compensation based. When we make money on his work, he makes money on his work.
Yes.
He's a great
I think we met him in person.
Yeah.
But any questions, comments?
Just tell Mr. Hudson I now have a third chair in my office to accommodate.
I have,
Okay,
you know.
I'll fill you in on that later.
I'm looking forward to the story.
Well, after she accosted him in the parking lot, Becky.
May
It's
I,
part of the story.
may I add something as it relates to Quaker Falls? Before we vote on this, I do want to note that the planning office and the board of commissioners are working diligently on looking for safety enhancements at the park. There is signage currently close to the steep drop-offs leading down to the stream. And it is dangerous. People could get too close and
Right.
misstep and could tumble down, and we certainly don't want that. We are communicating with the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania, specifically their two insurance programs, their liability insurance program and their workers' compensation insurance program. Both of those entities offer safety grants to counties. And we intend, and there's been discussion amongst ourselves, to apply for both of those grants, to allow for the appropriate safety measures, some type of fencing, if you will. And the gentleman from the County Commissioners Association is coming out here on the 19th of November to take a look at the site and assist us in determining how we can best address the safety needs out there. So we've had some folks express concern to us legitimately about those steep drop-offs, and we want to find a way to make it safer. We want it to be aesthetically pleasing. I don't think a chain link fence is going to work there, but I think we can come up with something that's going to be pleasing to the eye, but by the same token, creates a much safer environment. So we've had discussions with CCAP. I want to thank the planning staff, thank my colleagues. They've concurred with this, and I appreciate that very much. So looking forward to making Quaker Falls a little bit safer. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely, thank you. We'll make, again, 296, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, but that's been seconded.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Amy, thank you for your time. Places to be, we
I have
understand.
transferred on the agenda too, so.
You can answer. I can handle this. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
Next on deck, we have CYS and JPO for a number of contracts at that time of year. My favorite time of year, you can't tell by previous meetings. How you guys doing that? So first on deck today, we have a resolution for discussion and possible approval to enter into an agreement with Pennsylvania Department of Human Services for Child Welfare Information System Data Sharing Agreement. We will make that 297. And what do we have going on here today?
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a data sharing agreement related to our case management system, CAPS, Child Accounting Profile System. So it allows us to share the information fluently with the Department of Human Services and their vendor of Banco.
Questions, comments?
Fine.
Great. We'll take a motion to approve 2021-297.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2021-298 for City Mission Living Stones, Inc. What do we have going on?
This would be a new contract for us here in Lawrence County. Why we're asking for this contract is they offer secure detention services. And what we found across the state is being able to have accessibility to secure detention beds is very limited. The last time we actually had to use one, we were denied at 3 different locations before we were able to steal a bed, if you will. There was an in contract with another county, and we were told that we could use that bed. If they needed it though, then we were gonna have to find a new location. So, in the search for beds, we found that this site actually offers the secure detention that we may need. So while we may not need it on a regular basis, we would like to have it in our pocket to be able to use it in the future if necessary, so that we can have access for that level of service.
And this is one of those, if we don't use it, we're not paying for it.
Correct.
Any questions, comments?
I do have a comment, thank you. Just to be clear, so that there's no confusion, City Mission Livingstones, Inc. is not affiliated in any way with the City Rescue Mission here in Newcastle. Am I correct?
You are correct.
Appreciate that. Didn't want there to be any confusion. Thank you.
Brett?
No.
All right, take a motion to approve 2021-298.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Up next, this is a familiar name, resolution for discussion of possible approval and an agreement with Adelphoi Village Incorporated. What do we have going on?
This would be a renewal contract with Adelphi. We use them for multiple levels of services. While they have shelter care available, we don't typically use that, but again, in the same respect of if we get to this position where we don't have shelter beds readily available to us, that would be probably our next location. They have diagnostic services, specialized in independent living, intensive supervision, substance abuse programs, sex offender treatment, and secure. They offer a variety of residential programs. We currently, I believe, have one juvenile in placement with Adelphi at the moment. I'm not sure if
We have one also.
so this is again, being able to keep that array of services available to make sure that we're matching the appropriate needs to the juveniles. So we'd like to have this in our array of services availability.
Absolutely. I have no issue with that. Questions, comments from my colleagues?
A technical question, if I may. I'm guessing from how this is written, that their corporate headquarters is in Latrobe, but you list under item 1, the Jefferson County Juvenile Detention Center, and I'm assuming that's Jefferson County, Pennsylvania. Do you know what the difference between the two locations is going to be?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, I'm not sure where you see Jefferson County at necessarily.
Under the resolution, purchase service
Oh,
agreement.
do you not have the resolution in front of you? I'm sorry. Let me loan it to you, and you can read
Guessing that might be an
it.
error.
Item 1.
On behalf, it says Adelphoi Village on behalf of the Jefferson County Juvenile Detention Center shall be in effect for.
So that has to be an error. I apologize in the resolution. That Jefferson County Juvenile Detention Center is a separate entity. And so I'm guessing it might have just been a copy and paste from, it was probably an error from the last contract maybe that was done.
Don't be like that.
I'm sorry, I did not prepare that.
That's
so I
okay.
can't,
That's all right.
Just scratch that line
That's
out.
fine.
Adelphi has
That's
multiple
it.
programs across
Sure.
multiple counties. I believe they're in Westmoreland, possibly some in Allegheny.
Thank you.
So they,
Not
have
gonna
multiple, but I
override.
believe, I'm sorry, that resolution looked like it was from a previous,
Right.
where something didn't get changed.
So as Commissioner Spielvogel said, should we just
From comma to
eliminate,
comma.
take
Right.
out on behalf of the Jefferson County Juvenile,
Yes.
just delete that? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. I'll take a motion to approve 2021-299.
So moved.
Second as amended, right?
amended.
Yeah, second.
All right. We have motion and second, question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Up to 300. We'll get to 365. This is for family pathways. What we have going on?
Family Pathways, this is a renewal for foster care and services. Services that they offer to children and youth include their bonding assessment, variable rate in terms of foster care, $57.66 up to $99.91 per day. In terms of the intervals for services such as bonding assessments, it's $30 per every 15 minutes. This program is out of Butler County. Last year, 7 children served, currently 7 served. Our total cost of the county last year was $495, which was a 20% share of the total cost. The state and Fed picking up $1,000.
Questions, comments?
I'm sorry, I keep asking these questions, but I have to on this. You said something that just didn't click with me.
Sure.
And I'm probably the only one that didn't click with it. What did you say, $30 for 15 minutes? That confused me. Can you
So they
clarify
bill-
that?
Sure, they bill for the bonding assessment
Yes,
at an interval. So they do 0.25, so $30 for every 15 minutes of service related to the bonding assessment.
okay, is that unusual? Is that unique to this group?
I think that they are competitively priced. There are very few organizations that do the bonding assessment.
Okay, it just puzzled me.
For the 15 minutes, that
Yeah,
big increment
just-
like that,
yeah.
if they just,
Is
they
that-
need a half hour or
In the
something.
human service field, a unit is typically a 15-minute session, so that would be
Interesting.
considered one unit,
Okay,
and there'd be 4 units in an hour.
okay, that, I appreciate that, thank you. Thank you for clarifying it.
We're in the wrong business, Dan. I'll take on some, Commissioner Steele, if there's any questions.
No,
We'll take a motion to approve, 2021-300.
so moved.
Second,
Motion is second, any further discussion here, and none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
yes,
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 301, outside in, what do we got?
This is also a new contract for us. Outside In provides services for outpatient drug and alcohol as well as inpatient drug and alcohol services. So they are located in Allegheny, South here. We have one juvenile currently in placement with them. The one good thing about them is if they follow through an assessment, they can be serviced through MA dollars, and so that it wouldn't cost us any monies potentially if the juvenile meets criteria for inpatient drug and alcohol treatment, which is where we have our one juvenile placed right now. Again, wanting to have more, expanding our options, yes, to be able to service our juveniles appropriately, making sure that we're matching criminogenic needs in their facilities to get the best bang for our buck, if you will.
Should this be something provided through Lawrence County Drug and Alcohol Commission?
So in essence, it is. I don't know exactly if their hands are tied, particularly as far as what facilities they're able to access, but by us being able to go the route of MA, like I said, it's not costing the county dollars because we end up billing through MA dollars for those. We have a couple other facilities, Abraxas, up in Erie, Summit Academy also both have inpatient drug and alcohol facilities, but again, wanting to be able to expand our horizons and being able to have options, like I said, being able to have that juvenile be able to be covered MA. The difference is us being able to have that juvenile court ordered to be in placement versus a voluntary placement. So when you go through Drug and Alcohol Commission, it's a voluntary on the juvenile's part. By coming, in essence, being placed through our office, they're court ordered to be placed there, and so they don't have the option of being able to leave at any particular point in time or rehab, in essence.
Sure. Any questions from my colleagues?
no, and I appreciate your explanation, thank you.
I'll take a motion to approve resolution 2021-301.
So moved.
Second,
Motion is second, any further discussion, hearing none, question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
yes,
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 302, Justice Works Youth Care.
This is also a new contract, again, in the same respects, trying to broaden our horizons a little bit. They have a multitude of programs that they offer, a lot of which we currently have within the county reach, such as nurturing parenting, truancy type programs and so forth, but we also wanted to be able to have some of those that aren't quite the typical programs available to us. Currently, we don't have anybody referred to them. I'm not sure when we will or, if we will, but we again wanted to have that service array available for our juveniles.
Sure.
And CYS can also use the same type of services as well that we can too.
Sure. No, diversification is good, and I'm glad that we're
Absolutely.
starting to see more of it in our human services and quasi-human services agencies. So thank you for your, both of your work on that. Welcome. Questions, comments from my colleagues? Hearing none, we'll take a motion to approve 2021-302.
So moved.
second,
Motion is second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
yes,
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, you guys are welcome to take off on any other duties to attend.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good morning.
Up next, our Fisher Foster with tax claim. For resolution discussion possible approval for the Lawrence County Tax Bureau 2022 free and clear tax sale bids. Tish, how you doing today?
No, thank you.
Good job on the sale this morning. I
Yeah,
thought that
thank
went
you.
very well. Certainly a weight off of our chests, a weight
Yes.
off of school district's chests, and a weight off of Union Township's chest. It's good to put that that issue to bed. But here we're looking forward, we're looking into 2022, what do we have going on?
It's just the title searches for our 2022 judicial sale. We have chosen Clark and Clark to do those for us.
Okay. And this is yeah, just very simple. Whenever we go through the process, and correct me if I'm wrong, whenever we go through the process of putting properties up for sale, we do title searches on those properties to ensure there are no liens, mortgages, et cetera, that may be missed, and so that we may, number one, notify the individuals who hold those liens, mortgages, et cetera, as well as clear those liens, mortgages, et cetera, from properties which we are selling.
Correct.
Questions, comments from my colleagues?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take a motion to approve resolution 2021-303.
So moved.
Second, with just a minor correction, Mr. Vanasco's name is misspelled down at the bottom, so we'll need to correct that. But otherwise, I'll second it.
Sounds good. The motion is second with that minor change. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you, thanks, Tish.
Okay, thanks.
Up next, 304. Looks like we received some additional funding for our MHDS program, so we're increasing the MHCMHSBG revenue account by $150,000 and increasing the MHDS MH crisis inter-expense account by $150,000. Joe, what the hell?
We received a crisis grant this year.
Oh, is that for the thing?
Which allows an expansion of our crisis service, which is currently run through, no,
No, it's different.
this is currently run through the Human Service Center, it's actual crisis department. It's something that we've been after for several years and we're awarded this year.
Great. Glad that you received that grant. Will this be a recurring grant or is this a one-time?
I believe if it's still the same and it's been a few years since I was applying for it, but I believe it's over the course of 2 years.
Okay. Great.
If we get it this year, then we will get the going next year.
Unless there's any questions or comments from my colleagues, I'll take a motion to approve 2021-304.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? There none. Vanessa, please call the roll. Wouldn't that have been scenario?
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I gotta get a little bit worried about that. I think I saw it right.
That was interesting.
I didn't know how to respond. Jeez.
Up next,
My
305.
apologies.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. This is just a simple, again, due to turnover in some of the various offices, the unemployment, tax expenses associated with those offices went up as we pay, this year it's 2.93% of the first $10,000 that every employee makes. Next year it'll be 2.95%. From CCAP's UC Trust program. And whenever turnover happens, if an individual is again brought on new to the county, we have to basically pay that $293 for those individuals. We've seen this before, and unless there's any questions or comments, I'll take a motion to approve 2021-305, moving some money into some various unemployment line items in various departments.
So moved.
Second, the motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Number of admin transfers today. I'll try to go through these expeditiously. First on deck, our ARP funding. We're moving from contingency to administration funds, $1,000. That's to fund some of our consulting expenses with Zelmakowski Axelrod for ARP consulting, making sure that all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and that money's being spent properly. The planning for that is being done with due diligence. Next, we have $3,000 from Act 44 contingency, which is the transportation account, to salary of engineer. Rationale there being we just need some additional dollars to pay the county engineer. They've been doing some pretty intensive work with Banks Covered Bridge, which is looking to be open pretty soon, which we're excited for. But with that work comes invoices, and we need to pay those invoices, and that's what we discussed. Up next, some telephone and internet services, just moving $1,000 market from Commissioner, Good City Commissioner Telephone, to cover some basic telephone services. Internet's also in there, as well as a couple other miscellaneous items in that line item. The jail, the jail, we had some staff overtime, and maintenance repairs that are taking place over at the jail. So they're moving $200 from their contingency account to contracted services. That's in relation to our contract with one of our former maintenance employees to ensure continuity maintenance operations over there for $200. Our groceries line item, because the jail population is so far down, thankfully it is, we're able to save a significant amount of money in the groceries line item. We were able to transfer to cover the increased overtime expenses. Considering the fact that we're down to, I believe, 20, and we're going to correct me if I'm wrong here, we're down to what, 28 full-time people?
28.
Right now, where the
Yeah.
full contingent should be
Right, 36 at a minimum.
36 at a minimum, and as a result of that, obviously, you're incurring some overtime because we don't have the staffing that we need. And then $5,000 from continued maintenance and repair. I think they're replacing some valves over there with those dollars. Questions, comments?
And you said it, but I need to hear it a second time. This is the jail's contingency,
Yes.
is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Up next, the courts, they're a little over budget on their subscriptions. So they're moving from their contingency account $10,000 to subscriptions to cover some of those expenses. I'm talking to the judge right now about decreasing some of those costs next year because we do spend an arm and a leg for courts and their never-ending list of subscriptions. Also, courts were moving 5,000 jurors. And another 5,000 from their contingency into those subscriptions again. Same type of scenario there.
Can I ask just a question? Are those available online?
Yes.
I guess it wasn't that silly of a question.
No.
Okay.
Up next, we have planning. They've been doing some more travel and training recently. Amy is involved in a number of state associations, which we're proud of her for her involvement in leadership roles. And so she travels quite frequently. She's in Penn State a lot, State College a lot, as well as around the state. I know there was also some increased travel and training expenses as related to the opening of Quaker Falls. They continue to go back and forth out there.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned about her meetings in State College, and I think it needs to be noted that to her credit, it's a 3-hour one-way drive, and she does it all in one day. So she spends 6 hours in the car for meetings, and she could justify possibly going down the night before, but she doesn't do that. So I do give her credit for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. This is Russo's office, Magistrate Russo. Not enough money in the account to cover some equipment maintenance expenses. Copier maintenance and contractors do some moving some money from postage to equipment maintenance. Up next, out of MHDS again, we have MHDS is one of those interesting animals where the budget's so large and the needs might fluctuate on a year-to-year basis, and so it's difficult to predict exact spending outcomes as a result. CYS is another one of those animals where when you're dealing with millions and millions of dollars for expenses, there's going to be the need to move some around depending on community need throughout the year. So we're moving here from MH community participation to MH emergency and this is hearing. And then 51,000 from ID, in-home and community services to MH crisis intervention. And again, that's just based on we're just responding to the needs of our community and increasing services in areas that can be increased while decreasing services in areas that aren't being utilized.
Yes.
Here we have contingency, $4,400, MHDS, telephone and internet. My guess is that has to do with cell phone reimbursements that we approved at the earlier on this year that weren't included in the original budget.
Again, that's their contingency account,
Yes.
right?
Thank you. Again, here's another unemployment one, same type of concept. We gotta move to, maintenance, DJ Modi and 911 for some turnover in those offices. This is association dues and, is that Missy's? It looks like, yeah, it's Missy's.
Judge Cartwright,
Oh, is that right?
You're right.
down at the bottom.
Oh, yep, I got you, yep. Yeah, that's his magisterial association. Price must be high. Nicholson, increase in the price of supplies, paper envelopes, et cetera. That's due to the supply crunches all across the nation. So they're moving some money to maintenance and repairs, materials and supplies out of their travel and training and their contingency. And last but not least, adult probation, moving some money from contingency to overtime to cover some overtime expenses out of that department. Any questions or comments on any of this?
No.
I'll take a motion to approve administrative transfers A through T.
That was the largest amount of transfers.
You can see more and more.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, any further discussion, hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. We have no ordinances on the table for introduction with final action. Number of different announcements. Next commissioners meeting will be held on Tuesday, November 16th, 2021 at 10 a.m. in this room. There will be a retirement board meeting immediately following the commissioners meeting on November 16th, 2021 in this room. There will be, most likely, it's not set in stone yet, but most likely an election board meeting immediately preceding that. Commissioners meeting on the 16th. We have a planning commission meeting at Wednesday, November 10th, at 12 o'clock noon at the Mahoning Township Municipal Building. There will be a special prison board meeting tomorrow, November 10th at 12 o'clock noon in this room. The courthouse is going to be closed on Thursday due to Veterans Day. There will be another prison board meeting, a regularly scheduled prison board meeting on Wednesday, November 17th at noon in this room. There will be this is due to an ordinance the county passed, we have to announce these vacancies twice in order to fill them. There will be 4 vacancies on the Lawrence County Redevelopment Authority on December 31, 2021. That's our first announcement. There will be 2 vacancies on the Industrial Development Authority on December 31, 2021, first announcement. And there will be 3 vacancies on the Housing Authority on December 31, 2021. Again, that's the first announcement for that. Am I missing anything?
Just a very minor on item H for the Industrial Development Authority. It's correct, there are 2 openings, but I think we've already announced for the one, that was the position that Mr. Foat held. And if I'm
Greenwood
not-
on that? Is that Greenwood that we put on that?
No, he was already on.
Oh, you're saying the announcement.
Yes, we've already made the announcement twice for Mr. Foat's position.
Okay,
Better to do it more than enough than not enough,
absolutely.
but, I see what you're asking about, Mr. Greenwood. I'm not, do you recall who the position is that's up, other than Mr. Foat?
I think it is Greenwood.
Oh, okay, there you go. Okay. But I just wanted to make note that the one position has already been announced twice. And, but it is correct, we will have 2 openings. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Any additional public comments to that?
Question.
I got to Dick first and then.
Sure.
Comment, Dick Craig from the Shannon Township. Have you been on Croton Avenue since they finished it? I've driven a lot of miles on a lot of roads. I never saw a road paved that well. I mean, it's the smoothest road, so I know that's the city. but you
That's
might-
PennDOT.
Oh, what?
PennDOT.
God bless. I used to work for the post office, and PennDOT and I were always valoring for the top spot on who could do things the worst. But anyway, the question is, and this has nothing to do with Lawrence County, but it says, what the heck are they building out there on 422 right before 79?
Gas station.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've been working over 8 months, and you think they'd put a sign up, Wendy's or something?
What I've heard, and this is not confirmed, right, but I heard this from a friend of mine who works in business and industry over in Butler County, is that's gonna be a hub for a truck, basically a truck hub for sheets.
What?
A truck hub for sheets.
Oh,
Logistics.
okay.
That's not confirmed,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not.
I mean, that's a big operation. I mean, they got pumps all over the place. They're paving a lot of parking lots.
Yeah.
And,
Close to Lawrence County.
yeah, it's in
About a mile.
Muddy Creek Township, Butler County.
Butler County.
But again, that's indicative that growth is coming north.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So I think it's imperative,
Definitely.
touching on that, you know, one of the allowable expenses for ARP funding is water and sewage expansions. Obviously pending final rule from Treasury. That's an area of our county, which has access to a highway, but the entirety of Slippery Rock, I do not believe is covered by water and sewage, that 422 corridor. So that's something I think we need to take very.
It amazed me, I moved here in 93, how there was nothing between 79 and Newcastle.
Right.
Now we're starting to get a few things.
And if, my contention is if we're able to get water and sewage hookups that stretch through the county line,
Even more so.
you'll see that corridor build up very nicely. Debbie, what do you have?
Can you say who all of the vacancies are that are coming up? Who's currently expiring?
I mean, we could get that info for you.
Development.
Dan, Dan's the only person I might be able to look to that has that on the top of his
If
head.
you wanna come upstairs, I can get.
Vanessa has it, because I'd be hit and miss.
Right.
You know. I do know that a couple of the housing authority members have written to us
They've already indicated.
indicating a desire to be
Yes.
reappointed, Debbie Hennon and Pastor Young.
Yes.
Those are the two I can recall.
Those are the only two we got.
Okay. But, yeah, Mr. Boyd's correct. Vanessa would have those names whose terms expire.
On that, any additional comments, questions, new business, et cetera, from my colleagues?
No, sir.
In that case, we will adjourn today's meeting.
Excellent.
Debbie, I've got my
On to the next.
packet here if you would like.
Right.
It's the next
Somewhere
11:30.
at 11,
Conference, I think.
Conference.
11:30?
Public participation.
Yes.
Panel.
Panel, EPP.
That's at 11:30 at the conference.
Let's hope the